Greetings. Welcome to So Much to Talk About. My name is Nabaté Isles, and it's always a pleasure to share facts and viewpoints in the world of sports, as well as feature wonderful guests. And this week is no different. Before I introduce this illustrious gentleman, make sure to check out my past episodes of So Much to Talk About on YouTube channels, N as in no, S as in Sam, I as in Indigo, NSI World, to check out past episodes and interviews on So Much to Talk About. And it's been great to host this show for it's been a while, to say the least. So now I want to introduce this gentleman that I had the honor of knowing when I was producing him over at NBA Radio, and one of the classiest individuals and also one of the most knowledgeable individuals in the game of basketball. And he's a three-time champion with the Chicago Bulls, the dynasty with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson back 91 through 93, won the championships with the Bulls. He played in the NBA for 10 to 11 years in the NBA, played in the league, and also was an All-American at the University of Oklahoma. And he is, in my opinion, the most entertaining color analyst in the entire National Basketball Association. He's been with NBC Sports Chicago, calling games with the Chicago Bulls for the past 15 years. And this man is really, set a legacy for himself when it comes to broadcasting. And also he has a podcast too, as well, a weekly podcast that comes on called Gimme The Hotsauce too. And also I just saw on his Instagram that there's some hot sauce that's named after him. It is my pleasure to introduce three-time NBA champion, the great Mr. Stacey King. How are you, sir?
Nabaté, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
I know, been a minute, sir. Been a minute. What's going on? Yes, indeed. Everything's healthy. You and your family are good?
Yeah. Everything is about as good as it can be. Trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the coronavirus. As you know, it's affected everybody. I lost my brother early on in this.
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
So yeah, so it hit it home. So I look at the coronavirus a little bit different than some other people may. But at the same time, man, you gotta keep living, man. You gotta keep moving forward. You can't be stuck in one place. If you can get that vaccination, get that vaccination.
That's right.
Still got to. You can see I still got my little mask on, so you got to wear your mask when you got to wear it. So, so I'm in a good place though. I'm in a much better place today.
Wow. And was he older or younger?
Yeah, he's my older brother. He was just turned 60. And it was right when it first hit, when no one really knew about it, So yeah, he thought he had the flu. So he kind of treated it with over the counter stuff, and then it wasn't getting any better, and he's having a hard time breathing. And then he went in on a Friday night and was gone on Saturday night. That's how fast it was. Yeah.
Man, oh man. Wow. Was he down in Lawton, or was he near Chicago?
No, he was in Texas. He was in
Texas. Okay.
Yeah, he lived in Texas.
Okay. Wow. So sorry to hear, Stacey.
Thank you.
No doubt. And the effect of this COVID-19 pandemic on the world, not just with families, but on the world of sports. Like, talk about how different it's been for you, calling games, being at an empty United Center, and just like having to navigate. Talk about that difference this year has been.
Yeah. It's been, in the beginning it was really difficult because you miss the energy of the fans, and especially with the way, because with the COVID protocol in the NBA is really airtight. Mm-hmm. So we're no longer on the floor. We used to be on the floor next to the players. I could hear the players talk, the coaches talk. This year they moved us up to the second level where we're away from the floor, and only people on the floor are the players, the officials, the scoreboard people. And there's only probably no more than 150 people in the arena at a time, so it's really weird. Especially doing home games, not to hear, because, United Center is rocking, we sell out every night, and to not have fans at the game is really weird. But you get used to it after a while. We call the game from the monitor, basically.
Mhm.
When we're on the road, we go to a studio
Okay.
and we sit in a room isolated from each other.
Yep.
My partner, Adam Amin, is in one room. I'm in another room.
Mhm.
And we actually just watch the TV and we call the game from the TV. So, and that's really weird because you can't, it's just like if you were sitting at home in your TV and I
Mhm.
was calling the game, just watching TV in my living room. But the difference is you don't hear all the sounds. You don't hear the officials telling who the foul's on. So you got to kind of ad lib a little bit,
Yep.
it's an adjustment. Listen, at the end of the day, it's work. It's a job. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that lost their jobs during COVID and, that are unemployed and so I'm not going to complain about a little inconvenience about doing an NBA basketball game. I've got a job. I'm happy. And for those people who lost their jobs during this COVID, during this pandemic, I'm not going to complain and moan about a little inconvenience.
Wow. No, it's deep. And it's also just added, being able to adapt, improvise,
Yes, you
and
have to.
everything.
You got to be able. I mean, that's what we do as humans. We adapt to situations.
Mhm.
This COVID, was really really bad. I mean, it didn't just affect the United States. In fact, it was worldwide. Millions of people
Yeah.
have died. And so now they've got this vaccination, and I urge everybody to get that vaccination, get that shot
Yes.
if they can, because every day that you walk outside, you're playing roulette if you don't have that vaccination. I
Absolutely.
mean, you take the chance of getting COVID. You take the chance of getting a second strain. There's two other strains out there.
Mhm.
So it's better to get that that COVID shot and try to protect yourself as much as possible, because at some point, Nabaté, you're going to have verification that you took those shots. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
You
That's
they're gonna
right.
be like, it's gonna be like having a passport. You're not
Mhm.
gonna be able to get into events with a lot of people, like sporting events. You probably won't be able to fly on a plane unless you've got verification that you've gotten shots.
That's real talk, and that's why, like, for me, like, blessed that I got mine in the beginning of the month, this past month.
Yeah,
So I'm happy about
good.
that. For
Congratulations.
sure.
That's
No,
awesome,
thank
bro.
you, thank you. I know yours will be coming soon. The second one be
Yep,
coming
second
soon.
one, May 8th. I'll
Yes,
be
indeed.
right there in the front line, baby.
That's right. That's right. Here with the great Stacey King, three-time NBA champion, former All-American at the University of Oklahoma, and also 15-year color analyst for the Chicago Bulls and NBC Sports Chicago. Make sure to check those games out on League Pass, because there's nothing like it to hear Stacey King. There's entertainment, for sure. Definitely. Well, so, but no, I wanted to ask you about the current Bulls. What is your take on how they're doing? Like, did you expect for them to get into the playing round, or did you expect for them to experience some lumps? But there are some positives. The extension of Zach Levine. I mean, this dude could do anything offensively.
Yes.
But then you have like the stale, kind of like the stalemate of Laurie Markkinen. He's supposed to be the finisher. What's up? So, but talk about
Yeah,
your assessment of the Bulls.
well, you got to understand this. We got a new front office. They
Mhm.
got a late start. They didn't get a chance to evaluate the talent because of COVID. They got a really late start compared to other teams who already had their front offices in place. Okay. There was no summer league this summer for anybody. So you didn't get a chance to evaluate free agents or young rookies. Our rookie that we drafted, number 4, Patrick Williams, who has a chance to be very good.
Two-way
Yeah,
guy.
he's a two-way. He's Kawhi Leonard reincarnated, basically.
Mhm.
So our front office has really done a great job. I mean, they drafted Patrick Williams. They brought in Garrett Temple, who's been a really good player for us when he's healthy.
Mhm.
But the other guys that are here, those were from the other regime. John Paxson and
And Gar
Gar
Forman.
Forman. Those are the guys they drafted. So the new front office is evaluating everybody on the roster. Zach Levine in my opinion, has taken the next step, all-star level. We already knew he was always a scorer, but he wasn't an all-star.
Mhm.
This year
Yep.
he was an all-star, and he's an exciting player.
Mhm.
He's kind of like James Harden, is that he can score. It makes scoring look so easy.
That's right.
Like he's not even. I mean, the only player that I could ever compare him to, and I'm not comparing him to MJ as far as MJ the killer, but MJ
Mhm.
made the game look easy.
That's right.
Kobe made the game look easy. Zach is the same way. He has that ability to make the game look easy. He's got enormous talent. But I think where it separates, he's got Michael Jordan athleticism. But the difference, though, and this is no slight on Zach, is the mentality. MJ and Kobe were killers. They would snatch your heart out and let you look at it while it was beating in their hand. That's Russell Westbrook is like that. Durant is like that. Those guys are killers. Zach, he has to get that. Right. He has to get that mentality where he's out there trying to destroy everyone he plays against. He wants to show everybody, I'm the best two guard in this league. That's the mentality that he has to have. Now that he's ascended to that all-star level, he has to come with it every night and be a better two-way player. Zach could be such a great two-way player with his athleticism. And he wants to get better, but it's just a matter of putting the time in and working on it and really zoning in on it. When you're going up against at his position every night, it's a killer. Bradley Beal, Harden, there's a killer at that two guard position every night, so, he's going to be tested every night and he's going to test them with his offense. So they got to guard him on the other end. So what separated Michael and Kobe was they wanted you to know, not only did they want you to know, they wanted you to feel it, that they were the best. They wanted to destroy you on both ends, offensively and defensively. And when they had that type of mentality, man, nobody in the league can mess with them. And I'd like to see Zach get that mentality. I don't know if you can get that mentality. You got to be born with it, but maybe he has it in. It just needs to be tapped in, but he has the ability to be a game changer.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Lord Markkinen, because he's in his fourth season, right? Fourth season, right?
You know what? It's his fourth season. It's been up and down for Lowry. Yeah, he's been up and down. He's been injured. He's missed some time. His confidence has been a little shaken. He went from starter to the bench. And he didn't get a contract extension off his rookie deal this year. And I think that bothered him. And, I think he's let that affect him a little bit, because he's, when you go to the bench and you're trying to make big money the next year as a starter, teams are going to say, well, you didn't even start for your team. So why are we going to pay you as a starter? So he sees in his mind, or his agent's mind, he may see his money dwindling being in the role that he's in, but he's a talented player, man. I tell you what, whether he's here or if they don't re-sign him and he goes somewhere else, I believe, and honestly believe this, that he will be an all-star. He has all-star capabilities. He has to believe in himself that he's an all-star. He has to carry himself like an all-star. Listen, you can make a Chihuahua think it's a Rottweiler. And it'll walk around thinking it's a Rottweiler, but it's the smallest dog in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But he's a badass because he's basically letting you know, like, he has a mentality that I can whoop anybody, even at my size.
That's right.
And Lowry at 7 feet, there's not a lot of 7-footers that can do what Lowry can do. I mean, he's on the Dirk Nowitzki type of level.
Right.
3-point shooting. I like to see him post up a little bit. I like to see him watch Dirk Nowitzki films. Dirk wasn't just a 3-point shooter. Dirk worked you out off the dribble. He worked you in the post. He was an efficient scorer. He can handle the ball. And I would like Lowry, if I was his agent, I would honestly have him watch Dirk Nowitzki films, man, and try to implement his game, because we all grew up. Listen, we all grew up as great as I was in college as a college player. I put things in my game that other players did. That's the awesome sign of flattery, that you respect someone. Like, Wayman Tisdale, I respected the great late Wayman Tisdale.
Yes,
so I put a lot of my game from what he was doing in my game, and so there's no shame in that. You know what I'm saying? There's no shame in that. It's because you want to get better. You want to get better and you want to be the best player you can possibly be. So therefore, to get better, you want to add things to your game. You want to put things in your game, so Lowry, if he gets himself, in a situation where he wants to be the best, one of the best big men in the league, he can be that.
Wow, no doubt. And
you got to want to, though.
Yeah, you gotta have that want. That's right.
You got to want it, man. You can't expect people to give it to you. To open up the vault and say, take it. You got to go, you got to go get it. You got to go earn it. You got to go fight for it. And sometimes, this generation of young kids, They want to be handed things. They don't want to work.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? You see it in all walks of life.
Enabled.
I mean,
Don't want to hear
my
criticism either.
You know, yeah. You can't say anything to them without their feelings getting hurt. You know, then, you know, even with my boys, you know, it's like, you know, if you say something to them, they get their feelings all hurt. And, you know, it's like, no, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just trying to help you. You know, I'm your biggest fan, you know, and it's the same thing with coaches, these younger players. You know, the first thing a younger player wants to say, oh, the coach doesn't like me. No, the coach loves you. He just wants you to recognize that you have the potential to be better than what you are.
That's right.
And he's trying to get you there. Don't take it personally.
No doubt. And Laurie, you know, the thing that gives him an advantage, his agent could say, Jonathan Isaac got 4 years, 80 million, you know, like,
that's what he's looking at.
That's, you know, and he should be getting more than Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah. You know what, but you know how this league is though. You know, one team.
Otto Porter too.
Yeah. You know how this league is, Nabaté. It's like one team may value their player more than they value another player. So they may look at Jonathan Isaac now, really, realistically, you know, Orlando may look back and regret that because, you know, that was with Vucevic and Aaron Gordon and, you know, you had Markelle Fultz. You had a nice young nucleus of players. Now all those players are gone. And now you're paying this kid $80+ million and expecting him to be the face of the franchise. And from what we've seen early on in his career, he's not the face of the franchise. You know, he's not that kind of player, at least in the early going. He could probably morph into that. But one thing that we have recognized with Jonathan Isaac is he has the potential to be a very good two-way player.
True.
Kind of reminds me of Derek McKee. Derek McKee was like 6'9", 6'10", could, you know, shoot it, handle the ball, and he was a hell of a defensive player. That's what Jonathan Isaac reminded me of a Derek McKee. And that's a great compliment for him too.
Yeah, that's true. And Derek McKee was so unselfish. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He could score if he wanted to, but he did everything for the team. I know Larry Brown loves Derek McKee, you know? Absolutely. Wow. So Stacey, now, Vucevic, one more question about the current Bulls. Vucevic, is he in the future plans?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
They wouldn't have made this trade if he wasn't in the future plans.
Okay.
So here's what the Bulls front office is doing.
Okay.
They're gearing up because you realize now you got to have 2 to 3 all-stars.
That's right.
Okay.
And you got
the days already. The day of having one is no longer. In order to win and compete, you got to have at least 2, maybe 3. Okay. They position themselves now. You've got 2 all-stars. You got an outside player in Zach and an inside player in Vooch. Now, if somehow they're able to swing a point guard next year and put that point guard with those 2 guys, and then with the young talent that we have, Kobe White, you know, Patrick Williams, you know, the old heads like Thaddeus Young, who gives us great leadership as a veteran player. Man, we're putting ourselves in position, Nabaté, to be somewhere in the Eastern Conference in the top 5, top 6.
Yes, well, that's true. And with Billy Donovan, who's a great developmental coach, knows how to develop young players for sure. Wow. Here with Stacey King, 3-time champion, 8-year vet at the National Basketball Association, and 15-year analyst, color analyst for the Chicago Bulls television broadcast on NBC Sports Chicago here on So Much to Talk About. So Stacey, the 30th anniversary, it is wow. Like at this time 30 years ago, the Bulls were just making their run through the Eastern Conference to get to the NBA Finals and win their first championship, their first of 6 in the 90s. Stacey, I want to ask you, talk about the elements and the method to your excellence, the inside information on how you all were able to put it all together and finally get by the Pistons and sweep the Detroit Pistons, who were the defending 2-time NBA champs.
Well, I mean, all of us come from programs where we're the man. You know, we were the number 1 guy. Okay. We all come from programs where we had great coaching. We had played with other great players. And so when you get put on a team, you know, like Chicago, you know, there's a pecking order. You know, just like it is in college. I was the number 1 guy, and then everybody else went below me. When I got here in Chicago, Michael was the number 1 guy. Everybody knew that. Scottie was number 2, and then you had to try to find your way into where you're going to fit into that ladder. And in order to win championships, and I tell people this all the time, is that you have to have everybody going in the same direction. You know, we all have to be, you know, really pulling for the same goal. I got to be pulling for you, Nabaté, even though we play the same position. I can't be a hater on the sideline going, man, I hope he gets 2 fouls. I can't be doing that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's people that do that. Like, they want you to mess up so they can play. I want you to do well. I want you to do well, because if you do well, the team is going to do well.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm pulling for you. You genuinely want to see your teammates do well. Our practice sessions were very competitive. They were like, we'd have fist fights. They were so competitive. We honestly, I didn't play anybody during those championship runs that intimidated me more than what we saw in practice every day.
That's right.
You going up against the best player in the world at that time, Michael Jordan, now who's arguably the best player ever. You're going up against, Scottie Pippen every day, who's a top 50 player of all time. Bill Cartwright, John Paxson. You're playing against these guys as young kids, 23 years old, with these veteran grizzled players, Horace Grant. I'm battling every day with these dudes, so I can't be intimidated by playing Patrick Ewing or anybody like that, or Elijah Wan. I'm seeing the best every day.
Yes.
So my confidence is super high going up against any other NBA team or any other NBA player. And, when you have a brotherhood like we had, where, no one was bigger than the team. We all knew Michael was the man, but we held each other accountable. No one got their feelings hurt when someone said you weren't playing hard, or you weren't doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you missed an assignment. There was no hard feelings. There was no carryovers, and we genuinely really liked each other. We hung out. We did things together. We spent the summers working out together, it was awesome. I never have been on a team like that. When I left and got traded to Minnesota, that was the last I experienced what being on a team felt like.
Yeah.
I liken it to being in the penthouse, sliding all the way down to the outhouse. That's what it felt like, because you had guys that genuinely cared. They were professional. They were at work on time. Practices was at 10 o'clock. Guys were there at 8:30. If I was out there shooting by myself after practice, there'd be 8 guys shooting. You know what I'm saying? No one left the gym. Then we'd go in the back and shoot pool and play video games. They're your family. They're your family, even though you have a family. You know what I'm saying? Because you're with these guys 8 months out of the year. You're going from October to June, second week of June every year when you go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, we fought together. We were really a close-knit group.
Well, no, that's what's up. And I wanted to ask you about Phil Jackson, just how was it to be? Because, everyone says that, oh, he had Michael Jordan, he had Scottie Pippen, he had all these great players.
It's always easy to say.
Yeah. Talk about what it meant for him to be able to create that unity, to create that accountability amongst everyone.
Me and BJ Armstrong were talking about this a couple weeks ago on my podcast. The crazy thing for us coming in from University of Oklahoma and him coming from Iowa. We're coming in as fresh-faced kids, and
same draft. That's right.
Same draft, 89. Who would have known at that particular point in our careers that we could say that we played with, 2 Hall of Fame players, a Hall of Fame head coach. We have Hall of Fame assistant coaches. We have a Hall of Fame general manager. That whole organization during that time, all those Hall of Fame people that we had there, who would have known that? That tells you the greatness of that team and the organization, that there were so many great people there. 2 of our assistants, Tex Winter's in the Hall of Fame. I think Johnny Box in the Hall of Fame, and then Phil's in the Hall of Fame. So 3 of our coaches are in the Hall of Fame. We got Jerry Krause is in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Michael and
Jerry
Scottie
Reinsdorf too, right?
Reinsdorf's in the Hall of Fame. So it's a Hall of Fame organization, man. So how could you not be great with all that greatness walking around the building? How can you not, even outside of basketball, like when your career's over, how could you not have some of that rub off on you to carry you on throughout your life? You know what I'm saying? Yes. When you're around greatness every single day, it gets to the point where that's what all you expect to do is to be great at everything that you do. And so it kind of grows on you, man. It's like, I don't do anything, Nabaté, if I don't think I can give 100%. That's right. And I'm going to give 100% to the end. I will fight to the very end. I don't care what it takes unless I realize like, hey, I gave it my best shot. It's the best I can do. I'll walk away. But even then, it's hard for me to do that because of my ego and my personal, the way I feel that I can accomplish anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just have that.
You want to finish.
I'm a finisher. Exactly. I can just finish. I can finish things. Anything that I start, I can finish. You know, there's certain things you just can't do, but you know, at least you give it effort and you can look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? It didn't happen the way I wanted to happen, but I tried everything to make it happen the way I wanted to happen.
Well, true that. And also, you know, condolences to Scottie Pippen for
just lost his son Antron. That sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks, man. It's been a lot of death this past year and a half, man, with this COVID stuff, and you know, it just makes you appreciate life, you know, more than what you do. Because when you're younger, in your 20s, man, you know, you don't think about getting old. You don't even think about that. It's the furthest thing from your mind, you know. Your parents may be in their 50s and you go, man, that's old, you know, and you don't even think about it. But then when you get to that point where you get older, you know, takes you a little longer to heal, you know, where you know what I'm saying? Like you pull a muscle when you're 25, it's healed the next day. That's right. You pull a muscle now in your 50s, you know, I got to catch an Uber to go to the bathroom.
That's right. You got to take your time. And then guess what? When you think it's healed, it comes back. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So what I've learned now that I've got into my 50s, what I try to do now is I'm just trying to enjoy life, man, because I've had so many people die over the last 3 years that are my peers that I grew up with, or that, you know, college buddies, high school buddies, basketball team players that I play with, coaches I play with. I've had so much death over the last few years, man, that my perspective on things is totally different. And then when I lost my brother, that hit it home too. So I'm just like, you know, I'm going to try to enjoy every single day of my life, you know, and try to be drama free, try to be, you know, not let anything get to me stressed. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because you're not promised tomorrow, man, you know? And so if you wake up tomorrow, you know, it's a blessing by God that you're allowed to wake up and see another day. And you got to thank God every day that you're allowed to go to sleep at night and then be able to wake up the next day and see another day. I don't take anything for granted now. Like I said, when you've seen as much, you know, death as I have over the last few years, you know, it kind of scares you a little bit. You know, you're not immortal. You know, athletes sometimes think we're Superman. You know, we think that we don't bleed, we don't get hurt like everybody else. But you know, at the end of the day, we're all human, man. And we have pain like everybody else. We hurt like everybody else. And like I said, I value life, man. And everybody should value life, man. Make sure you hug your mom, your dad, and your brothers and sisters, your wives, your girlfriends, whoever, and just hold on to them, man. Make sure you tell them you love them every day, you know, because you don't ever want to regret. When it's all said and done, you don't ever want to regret going, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have said that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many things I wish I would have done different with my brother, you know, and I can't get back, you know? And so I'm haunted with that. You know, I'm haunted with that every day in my life, you know, and it really hits at home, man. So I've kind of changed the way I think and how I handle things now.
No, it's real. And speaking of that with death, like, and because I wanted to ask you one thing about The Last Dance, you know, your take on that, and everything, and wondering why didn't they have you on to talk about some things, you know, and everything. But the question was with Jerry Krause, like, you know, he's departed. He's not with us anymore. You know? So what was your take on that? Like, about how he didn't get a chance to speak for himself?
I was really upset with the way he was portrayed. You know, he was portrayed in a negative light. I thought MJ really went out of his way to do that. You know, MJ, one thing about Michael that, you know, a lot of people are starting to find out, Michael holds grudges and he won't let it go, just like he did as a player. You know, he has that same mentality. And there, you know, Michael could have easily squashed that beef. You know, he could have squashed it. He could have said, hey, look, give Jerry his credit. Jerry put this team together around me. Before that, I wasn't winning anything. And Jerry went out and put this team together. He drafted Scottie, Horace, myself, BJ.
Traded for Scottie. Which is crazy.
You got to remember too, Nabaté, is that those were two different championship teams. The only players that were on both those champions were Michael and Scottie. Both those teams were two different teams. Now, if that would have been, if Jerry Krause's last name was Jerry West, he'd have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. He'd have been in the Hall of Fame years after they won the championship. He wouldn't have had to wait till he passed away to be in the Hall of Fame. That's the only thing I regret about that. But it goes back to what we just talked about. Life's too freaking short, man, to be holding grudges. Life's too short to be, being vindictive, man. Let it go, man. All that does is consume you, hate and anger. It just all it does is consume you. So let it go, man. I mean, I would rather be happy and be in a good place than be miserable and just sad all the freaking time. That's not a way you want to live. And so with MJ, he could have really got some brownie points if he would just squash that right then and there. Just gave Jerry his due. He's not here to defend himself. Just say, hey, look, Jerry put this team together, and if it wasn't for him putting this team together, we wouldn't have won 6 championships. We would have won 8 if he wouldn't have went to go play baseball. So the 2 championships Houston's got would have been ours, and they know it. They keep talking that yin yang like they would have beaten us. They wouldn't have beaten us. They wouldn't. First of all, you're not beating the Bulls in a 7-game series. No.
But dream though.
Let me tell you something. Here's what the argument is. If Houston was as good as they say they were when they won 2, why didn't they win 3?
Yeah, they didn't win in 93 or 96. They didn't get out the West.
They had dream.
Right.
They had all their guys. Kenny Smith. They had all their people.
And Drax later. Yep.
Yeah. Why didn't they win 3 in a row?
Yeah, in the West, win 3 at least 3 West. Yeah, true.
Yes,
true.
Yes. So that's where the kind of argument ends right there. Right? And Michael Jordan is not going to lose a game 7, bro. I've experienced 2 game 7s during that first championship run. We played the Knicks on our second championship run. They
92.
92. They had the home court advantage on us. They beat us every game.
Oh no, y'all did that year. Yeah.
No, they had home court advantage. We played the first 2 games in New York. They blew us out.
Oh, but y'all won in 6 though.
We won in 6, but they had home court advantage.
Oh, right.
See, they felt the only way they could beat us if they had home court advantage. So they went through the whole season trying to get home court advantage. We could care less. We didn't care if we got home court advantage because we felt like we can go on the road and beat anybody in 1 game. We could do it. So we let them have home court. We let them have home court advantage. We went into New York those first 2 games. They blew us out.
Yeah,
that's right. They blew us out. So they thought it was going to be sweet. So we knew coming back to Chicago, they weren't going to beat us like that in Chicago. We were not going to let you beat us at home. So then we beat them like they stole something in Chicago. So now you got that pivotal game 5 in Madison Square Garden. And you know what? Charles takes a beating for that.
I know. And he wasn't fouled. He wasn't fouled.
There was a lot of plays before that the Knicks didn't make that could have won that game.
Right.
Patrick Ewing ran me over, should have been in charge. And that's how Charles Smith got the ball in the first place because Patrick Ewing ran me over and lost the ball and then rolled to Charles Smith, and then he kept shot faking, and Scottie and him they did foul him a couple times, but ref's not gonna call that, bro.
Really? So you thought he was fouled?
He might have got hit on the arm once.
Because I'm the ultimate Knicks fan, and I saw it. I said, nah, he didn't get fouled.
But pretty much okay. If he would have just went up with it and not pump fake so many times, he might have got a call. But he just kept pump faking. And you got Michael and Scottie down there like hounds chasing a raccoon. They slapping at that ball. They're not gonna call that foul. They're not gonna call that foul. But the Knicks, but we win game 5, and then they knew they were done.
Yep.
But here's the thing about the Knicks, and I don't think anybody knows this, but the Knicks, the year before, they took us to game 7 in Chicago.
That's right.
And the reason why they did was because Xavier McDaniel.
That's right. He was the difference.
The biggest mistake the Knicks did was not bringing Xavier McDaniel back that second year.
Yep.
That was the one guy. He was the X factor for real for them. He was the guy that was like, he was a thorn in Scottie's side, intimidation. He was nasty.
That's right. But
they felt like, I think Pat Riley and them felt like, because we were bigger than they were, at that time, other than Patrick Ewing. But we had, you had me at 6'10", Scott Williams at 6'10", 6'11", Horace at 6'10", and we were athletes. We were super athletes. So, they wanted to probably match up with us. That's probably why they brought in Charles Smith that year instead of re-signing Xavier McDaniel. But at the end of the day, it ended up hurting them because I thought Xavier McDaniel was a difference maker for them if they would have had him that second year.
That's right. And X-Man 2, him and Mike had history as well.
Yes.
Because they were both in the same draft,
yes.
and
yes.
everything. So
he was just mean, dude. Yeah. I mean, he was mean. He was intimidating he intimidated Scottie, and he took Scottie out of his game. And that was one way you could beat the Bulls. That's why the Pistons had so much success early on in Scottie's career, because they were able to take him out of the game. And Pat Riley knew in order to beat us, he had to play Detroit Piston basketball. He had to be a physical, nasty grime, which New York City loved. They loved that grimy style basketball. And we were considered a finesse team. We were the pretty boys. Like, we didn't want to get hit. We didn't want to be getting grabbed. We complained about all the fouls. But when it came time to get grimy, we got grimy.
Wow, that's for sure. Wow, and Mr. Stacey King here on So Much to Talk About, 3-time NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls, 30th anniversary of their first title when they won in Los Angeles, coming up in June. But also, too, Stacey is one of the great NBA color analysts, been with NBC Sports Chicago for 15 years, calling the Bulls games. And now, Stacey, Billy Tubbs, God rest his soul, your coach in college, 1988. He led the Oklahoma Sooners to the final against Danny and the Miracles and the Kansas Jayhawks. Coach Tubbs died in last November. Talk about what he meant to you.
You know what? It was sad to see, because he was such a tough guy. I remember before I signed with Oklahoma, he was an avid runner. He used to run 10 miles a day. He got hit by a car. Should have died. Yeah, he got hit by hit and run. He was out running, and a car hit him and ran him over and took off, didn't stop. And he should have died, but he's a fighter. He fought through, and people didn't know he was deaf in one ear from that accident. I know it's not really funny, but it's funny. Like, when we were young kids, freshmen, when we would get into his deaf ear and we would curse at him, and he couldn't hear us. When he'd make us mad, so we roll over to his side and just say, like, curse at him. He would need, what'd y'all say? We, coach, great job today, coach. Great job.
Oh, you know what? Now he gonna get you for that. He gonna get you.
He knew we did it, though. He knew later on we used to tell him we did it.
Yeah,
he was but overall, he was a great coach. He should be a Hall of Famer. Revolutionized the game. Everybody thinks Nolan Richardson, the 40 Minutes of Hell, and all that stuff. We were that before Nolan Richardson. Billy Tubbs is the reason why the Oklahoma City Thunder is in Oklahoma City, because of our fan base. Because it's a football state, always been a football state.
Right.
But Billy Tubbs made it be a basketball state with the way we played. Think about this. We averaged over 100 points a game in a 40-minute game.
That's right.
How many, if you see a college team today score 80, you go, wow, that's a lot of points. We scored 150 in a game before. So we were putting up NBA type scores, and that set us apart. And we finished the year we lost to Danny and the Miracles. We beat that team 2 times that year.
Right. Big eight play.
Big eight. Yeah, we were, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, and not making any excuses. I'm sure if you ask Coach Tubbs, he would have made some adjustments differently than what we played in the second half compared to what we played in the first half. First half, even to this day, is still the highest scoring first half in NCAA history. 100 points. Both teams scored 50. So I just had Danny on my podcast a couple of days ago.
Interesting. Yeah.
Everybody thinks that we're like enemies. We're good friends. I didn't like Danny when I was in college because we were competitors.
Yeah.
But I got a chance, to spend time with Danny at the Olympic trials. I stayed in Georgetown all summer and we hung out a lot. I got to know him as a person. And he was really cool. I'm like, man, this dude is really cool. And so we've been friends in the league. He's just a good dude. And now he just got fired from coaching at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
But he just signed with Maryland. He's assistant coach at Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Right, with Turgeon.
Right.
So he got a job. But having him on, and getting a chance to ask him, like, because I always wanted to know what was going on in the other locker room. I know what was going on in Oklahoma locker room, but what was Kansas thinking? Like, it's 50-50 the first half. We're running with these guys. Are they going to continue to run with us and get blown out the gym? Because we knew they couldn't sustain that. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, what was the coach talking about at halftime? And he told me that the coach Larry Brown was saying, we're not running with them anymore. We can't run with them. We can't keep this pace. We're going to play our style of basketball. We're going to slow it up, spread the floor, and dissect them. And that's what they did. And honestly, and even Danny said this the other day, he said, if they would have got you and Harvey Grant the ball more in the second half, you guys would have won easily.
Yeah,
and I've always said that. I've always said that, but I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I was the leading. Here's the reason why I can't be that guy, because I was the leading scorer in the tournament that year. I was averaging like 34 points a game in the tournament. And so
about to get the MOP award.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I was on the all tournament team in the Final Four. And I felt like me and Harvey was a big reason why we got there to the Final Four. We had Mookie Blaylock and Ricky Grace. Those guys were great players too. But our inside tandem, you couldn't stop us. I mean, if outside guys are not hitting shots, we're always going to hit shots because we're inside players. We can score. Harvey can face up 15, 18 foot. I could post up my back to the basket. I could face up 15, 18. He could post up his back. I mean, and then we just played. There was this symmetry between us. Like we knew where each other was on the floor at all times, which was awesome. And I have not gotten that feeling since I played with the Bulls in the championship team. And when you're on a great team, you got that symmetry. You got that feel for one another. You don't even got to say anything about it. You just feel it. Like it's like telepathy. You like know.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's what it is. And wanted to ask you about current Oklahoma. Lon Kruger retiring. Wow, I thought he was going to be there at least another 3-4 years.
Well, supposedly he's going to be a consultant at Vegas, UNLV, with his son. His son got the head coaching job at UNLV,
and he was there before himself too at UNLV.
So he wanted to help his son out and plus be close to his grandkids. We picked up a great coach in Porter Moser from Loyola Chicago.
Oh, yes.
He's a great coach.
Final Four.
Final Four. Oklahoma got a good one. I talked to him 2 or 3 times since he's been in Norman. I'm going to help him recruit. I told him, hey, anything he needs from the program, because I'm kind of that senior statesman now that, Wayman's gone. I'm the kind of that guy now, like the Godfather, basically. It's not the role. Right. It's not the role that I want. It's kind of the role that's put me in because I'm one of the older guys there now. So you still got Blake and those, but those guys are still young. They're still playing.
That's right. That's right.
If I'm gone, they'll put him there. Those guys will be there. That's how succession is, So I'm there to help out the program any way I can. I want them to do well, and I think he will do well. The college game has changed, from where I played. You're so reliant on the 3-point shot. There's screen rolls all the time now. It's more NBA style,
And one and dones. Now one and done. Kids aren't staying, you would have been a one and done. You would have been a one and done. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I was having too much fun in college, bro. I could came out after the Final Four and been a top 10 pick. I decided to stay another year at school because I was having so much fun, man. I mean, there's something to be said about growing up in college. You know what I'm saying? Right. I was much more, when you're 19 years old coming to the NBA with grown men, you're not ready. You're not ready. You can't get the clubs yet. You probably just got your driver's license. I came in as a 21-year-old and it was 100 miles an hour for me, who I went to a big program. I was a big time player and I was overwhelmed. My first 6 months of the season, I'm like, because you got to learn, there's so much structure at the college level, study hall, practice, class, there's all these things that you have to do. But when you get to the pro level, there's so much free time. Like you go to practice for 3 hours, man, 3 hours, you got like 21 hours to play with. But the 19-year-old getting so much trouble. You can only go to the mall so many times,
or play video games,
games, not getting your rest, eating junk food, McDonald's and stuff, not eating healthy. but I had veterans on my team that snatched the knot in my butt, man, when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, going to bed. What are you doing out? We got a game tomorrow. Get your butt in bed. Like, all right, Dad. That kind of thing. Bill Cartwright was my mentor.
Wow,
and,
yes.
he would do bedroom checks on me and BJ to make sure we was in the room.
That's right.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, my dad's in Lawton, Oklahoma, man. I'm a grown man. You better go on with that, Bill. Bill wasn't having that, boy.
That's right, because that's right. He wasn't having any of Mike either, because Mike knew not to go there.
He had the utmost respect from everybody, man. So, when you're that kind of player, he was married, had kids, just a totally different vibe, coming in as a senior from Oklahoma to coming in as a 19-year-old now, because most of the 19-year-olds they're coming on a team with the ages 21, 22, 20. Yeah. They're babies themselves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's no one in the locker room, veterans, because as you know, you got to have vets that are still playing. You can't have vets that's just on the bench waving the towel. You got saying, do it this way, do it that way, but you can't even do it because you're on the bench. Right. So you need active veterans that are still out there playing big minutes that are keys to teams, so they can show these kids what's the importance, how to read a scouting report,
right. how to watch film.
How to watch film, how to study your opponent even when you're on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Know the strengths and weaknesses of the guys you play. Most of these kids come out of here, these 19, 20-year-old kids, they play like it's a pickup game.
Right.
They're not studying opponents. They're not looking at, their strengths and weaknesses. What can I take away? What can I take away from this guy? He likes to go left. I got to take away his left hand. They're not even studying that. Guy still goes left. Well, damn, if you scatter report, you would realize that that's what he does, But like I said, I watch the game, I'm watching games every night, as an analyst, and I see, which teams are the best, which players do their homework. And when you play the game, you're able to recognize it a lot faster than the average person. You know what I'm saying? When you've been in that locker room, you've been in those wars, you've been in those practice sessions, you understand, what players are going through. You understand what they're looking for, what their mindset is in that situation, because you've been there a million times.
True that. Wow. Stacey, I got to say, before I let you go, I got to ask you a quick question. LeBron or Mike? Did LeBron surpass Mike right now?
No.
Okay.
No. But I will say this because they're two different players. Okay. It's when people ask me that question, he's going to be in the conversation. He'll be in the conversation. He'll be in the conversation more than Kobe will be. Okay.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I love Kobe. I'm a big Kobe fan. And Kobe, in my opinion, is the closest thing to MJ as far as personality, because he pretty much copied everything that MJ did. Right. So in that likeness, he's like the closest. But LeBron, the reason why LeBron won't be considered the greatest is because LeBron is, he had to team up with other people, and I don't hold that against him. Hey, look, if that's what you got to do to win a championship, so be it. Times have changed. And I don't want to be that guy, the guy who played in the 90s, who's like a faulty old man, that kind of thing. No.
Hey, like hip hop, like 90s hip hop, we're the same way.
Not that guy, do what you got to do. If that's what you got to do to win a championship, okay, so be it. Win your championships, but don't expect people to put you on that pedestal as the greatest ever when you did it that way. Because, everybody Michael played with was drafted. We were drafted. The core group of those championship teams were drafted. Horace, Scottie, myself, Scott Williams signed as a free agent. BJ was drafted. Free agents, we brought in Cliff Levingston, Craig Hodges, Bobby Hansen, all these guys, Rodney McCray, Dennis Hobson. We brought in quality free agents to go along with our core. And the one thing about our core, Nabaté, is that it never changed. We kept our 7 guys, and then we built around those 7 guys. That's what made Jerry Krause and Phil, so good at their jobs, because they said, hey, look, we got our 7 guys. We got our 7 guys that are young, they're athletic. Now we got to sprinkle in some veterans, some specialty guys, 3-point shooters, extra rebounder, a versatile player that can guard 2 or 3 people. That's how you win championships. You keep your core group that you believe is your core, and you build around them. And that's why the Bulls had so much success. But MJ will always be the greatest to me because I was there and I experienced it. I saw everything. I'm not saying LeBron's not great, because he is. He'll be in that conversation. His face will be on the Mount Rushmore at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. But there'll always be an asterisk by his name with the people that saw MJ play. It would be the fact that he had to team up with super friends to win a title. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't. Now, let's just say this. The second year he went to the finals, didn't he go to the finals his second year with Larry Hughes and Ricky Davis and all that group?
It was his fourth season with like Boobie Gibson. It was Boobie Gibson.
Now,
Big Z.
Now, if he won a 10, now he went to the finals with that squad.
Mm-hmm.
If he had won that, then he would be that would be an interesting conversation, because he now is playing with the guys that he was given.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was up to the Cavaliers to realize he was a talent, a mercurial talent, that we got to build around this kid. Let's keep our core group together. The big kid, Ilgauskas.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep him, you keep the guys you feel is your core, and you build around them. And if they would have done it that way, took a page out of what the Bulls did, I think he'd have a legit argument that he's the greatest. Okay. Yeah. But you also got to remember this. Some people are going to say, well, he went to 8 finals in a row. Okay.
Yeah. And three MVPs, finals MVPs with 3 different teams.
How many did he lose?
That's true. But he wasn't the favorite, Stacey, in a lot of those.
Doesn't matter. How many finals did MJ go to?
Yeah, no, that's true. 6.
And how many did he lose? Okay, so I mean, you get Bill Russell, and to be honest with you, I mean, I'm gonna give Bill Russell some love. Okay, Bill Russell. If you wanna say who's the greatest winner of all time, Bill Russell would be that guy. 13 as a player, 2 as a coach. 13 championship rings, and was a major contributor on those teams. He was the man on that team.
That's right.
Okay, so we all live in "what have you done for me lately" mentality. If think about this, and had they not brought The Last Dance, most of this generation would not have known Michael.
Known about exactly,
except for the guy that sells the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Michael knew what he was doing when he released that video, because LeBron was getting ready to win another title.
Yep.
And he wanted to put that out there while we had COVID.
That's right. That's right. Pandemic entertainment. Yeah. Right. When it was the
smart.
That's right. Because that was supposed to come out during the finals or something.
During the finals after. Yep.
Yeah. Right. And
that was smart move on their part.
Because we needed.
But MJ got reintroduced to a whole new genre of audience.
That's right.
So all these little kids now like, oh my God, Daddy, this is who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Ron, that kind of, oh my God, did you see him dunk on that 7-foot guy? Look at that move. So now a whole new generation of people know who Michael is. Now his shoe got kicked up. His shoe is still the number 1 NBA shoe the last 30 years. And now it's even higher than what it was because of that.
Yep. And the fact that he was funny, dissing on his teammates,
Got a chance to see.
Did he mess with you, Stacey? Did he mess with you?
No, that never happened, bro.
Okay, yeah.
We bumped heads. We bumped heads my rookie year, but like I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't take shit for nobody. I just don't.
Yep.
I wasn't born that way. I wasn't born in New York City or it don't matter where you're from. It's where you at.
It's where you at. Like Rakim said. That's right.
I grew up where you had to fight every day. So I don't take to people trying to punk me. That doesn't happen.
Facts.
I ain't saying bad dude, but my knuckle game ain't too bad.
That's right, the 2-piece.
I'm just saying.
Well, and talk more about your Gimme The Hotsauce, your podcast. Please let the audience know where they can hear it and everything.
Funny, it was just an idea. People have been trying to tell me to do it for the longest. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how, how you have an idea, but you don't know how to get the wheel to the ground to get it going. The pandemic really gave me a chance to do it. So I ended up doing it. and I have these phases in life that I want to do. Like, I envision where I want to be in 5-10 years. I did that as a player, a kid growing up, wanted to be an NBA player. And I still live that way now. I still format my life that way. So, what I wanted to do is like, I'm supposed to do public speaking this past year with COVID got in the way. And then I want to write a book, a motivational book.
Wow.
Podcast would fill in after all that. But pandemic happened. Now I had to reverse it a little bit. I had to put the podcast first. I'm gonna do public speaking this year. I did a lot of Zoom stuff this year. It was really weird, but I can't wait to get back in front of an audience and do it in front of audience. And so I'm looking forward to that possibly this summer. And then I'm in the process of writing a motivational book. Not my life story. I'm not big on no autobiography type stuff, but things that I've gone through, things that I've seen that has helped me along the way,
yes.
And put it in print and, maybe help someone, some kid who doesn't think that, he's good enough to accomplish any of his goals or dreams that can do it. It's going to take some work. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody believes in you. So that's how I live life, and that's how I carry myself. And, no one's your biggest fan except you and your family. Your biggest fan is going to be you, because you're always going to look out for yourself. You're always going to pump yourself up, to the point where, like, you're not going to be afraid to try something. Because I always, like I tell my kids this, and I tell any kids I talk to, is like, fear is the biggest thing that consumes people. Okay. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid to try because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of what could possibly happen if it doesn't work out. Okay. So that fear consumes you, it handcuffs you. Okay. Whereas if you're a person like myself, I don't fear anything. I'll try anything. I will try it, because the only way I know if I can succeed or fail is I got to try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't sit back. I don't want to sit back and watch you accomplish it and go, damn it, I wish I would have done that. And now it's a lost moment. I can't get that moment back. But you've experienced it because you weren't afraid to try. And that's what I try to, tell my kids. Don't let fear consume you, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know what tomorrow's going to be. Okay. But if I'm going to let fear consume me, then I'm going to be afraid to go outside tomorrow. I'm going to stay in the house because I'm worried about what could happen, instead of nothing happen. Let's go out there and not be afraid, and let's let things happen the way they may happen. Maybe nothing happens at all.
That's right.
But if you're out there afraid of failure, man, why even try? Why even talk about it? Don't even talk about it. Afraid. Right. So that's just the way I feel like that's what's carried me through, my 54 years of existence. That's what I try to tell kids when I speak to kids and my own kids, is like, don't let fear consume you. Because it's easy to talk yourself out of something because you're afraid. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to say, well, no, you can't do this, Stacey. Don't even try it. You're going to fail. And then you're like, because think about this. The most powerful thing that we possess as humans is the mind. The mind.
That's right.
It's not how much weight you can lift. It's none of that. It's the mind. The mind is the most powerful thing. Think about this. I use this analogy a lot. If you were going to a martial arts thing and you saw a guy getting ready to break 4 bricks, okay? Break 4 bricks with a punch. And they called you up on stage. Nabaté, come up here and see if you can do this. Well, your mind is already telling you, hell to the no. I'm not breaking my wrist. I can't do it. There's no way in the world I can do it. Your mind has told you that.
Yep.
But his mind has told him he can. So now his mind is now going to generate the energy that he needs to break those 4 bricks. And he ends up doing it because his mind told him he can. Now, we don't know later on if his hand hurt. We don't know. But what we saw was his mind told him he could do it, and he did it.
And that's based on the preparation throughout.
Exactly. So you can't, the mind is the most powerful thing. It'll have you believe in things that are not there. It'll have you believing you can't do certain things because it's too hard. Yeah, you got to reverse that, man. You got to reverse that. And you got to turn it into positive energy, because, hey, listen, if you fail, Nabaté, so what? Get up and do it again. How many times have you failed at something and you didn't quit and it didn't deter you from accomplishing what you've accomplished?
True.
You know, I remember we were at Sirius, and I know how hard it was at Sirius for you as the producer to work with certain people. You know, you didn't quit. You just kept on. You did your job. You did what you were supposed to do, and you made things happen. You didn't go, F this. I'm not even coming to work tomorrow. I'm quitting. You just kept plugging. And I know how hard it was for you. So I know, so, but you didn't let it deter you. You didn't let your mind tell you to do something else or quit, whatever. You just kept doing it, kept plugging away. And that's what you got to do in life, man. You just got to, just when you think that you can't do something or you can't, go another inch, you can go another mile. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And there's been plenty of times we all come to a point where we run up against a wall and we say, damn it, I'm too tired to climb over this wall. There's no way around it. There's no way under it. I'm quitting, And then something clicks in your head and say, I'm going to find a way through this barrier. If I got to take a hammer and start hammering until I poke a big enough hole where I can climb through the wall, so be it.
Wow. Yes, sir. And that's the thing, being a musician, professional musician too. That's what drove me. That's what made me in life be able to do whatever I needed to do. And like you said, have that tenacity, that push, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Because in the music is that jazz, the jazz world especially is not easy, and music world in general. So, yeah. So.
Well, you're doing good, man. I'm proud of you, man. I'm glad to see everything's working out for you, man. You're a good dude.
Appreciate you. No, I appreciate you, and I appreciate people like you. You know what I'm saying? Like giving me the strength, and also being someone that really is just like so down to earth and everything too, and really bring that infectious energy. That's so important. Yes, sir.
I try to. I mean, like I said, I go through difficult times like everybody else, but I try to stay positive on everything that I do. So. Because I always feel like no matter how bad things get, the man upstairs is not going to let you leave you alone. He's going to get you through it as long as you believe. So, there's been difficult times, my brother passing, that's a difficult time. My mom passing on Christmas Day, 10 years ago. I thought I'd never get through that, man. And, I've been able to get the strength to go through these things and keep soldiering on. And I surround myself with positive reinforcement that continues to pump positive energy into me, my kids, my family, everybody that's in my inner circle. So I keep myself like energized with those people, and try to distance myself from negative energy, because it's like I'm like Superman. That negative energy is like kryptonite, man.
That's right.
I don't want to be around it, man. It just brings you down, and life's too short, man. Enjoy life, man. Life's too freaking short.
Yo, that's facts on that. And Mr. King, wow. So make sure everybody check out Stacey King's podcast, Gimme The Hotsauce. Check it out.
And we're selling sauce now. Did you see that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on the Instagram page. That's right. And wow.
I'm like Nipsey Hustle, man. I'm on my hustle, bro.
That's right. Absolutely. I want to buy a bottle for sure. Like
dude. We just brought like 60 bottles. We're just like, let's see how they do. Like we're already out. Like we gotta go back and reinvest and get some more bottles, dude. I didn't even think it was gonna be that big of a deal, but it's a big deal, man. People love it. So, and it's good hot sauce too. It tastes really good.
Yeah, let me know when the next shipment comes in. I got you. I'll support you on that. Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Wow, pleasure to have you, Stacey. Thank you for being on so much to talk about. Glad to talk with you and catch up with you, sir.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
My man. And wow, thank you all for watching so much to talk about. Have a wonderful evening. God bless. And please treat each other with respect and kindness. Be blessed. Bye-bye, everybody.